Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafters, welcome to my channel if you're new here, welcome back if you're a subscriber. Today I'm going to make 10 cards and I'm using the Love from Lizi April 2024 card kit. It's called Spring Wishes. This kit is a beautiful kit, and if you're a subscriber, I hope you're inspired by the cards I make. Don't forget to look down in the description, because down there you'll find a list of the other design team members, guest designers and new designers to the Love from Lizi design team. I hope to have all of the links to them in the description down below, but once I do get those links I will add them at a later date if they're not there already. Lizi is actually moving to Canada and she's in the process of that at the moment. So although you can purchase from the website, what will happen is your orders will go into the processing, and once Lizi has everything up and running, which should be within hopefully the next 8 weeks, your orders will be sent. So at the moment there's a kind of freeze on, but if you visit the website all the information is there. Prices have now changed for subscription kits. If you're a subscriber, nothing changes for you. If you're new to the Love from Lizi kits, then there will be information regarding that. If you're in America and Canada, I think the prices will probably go down for you. But like I said, have a look at the links in the description and go on to Lizi's website. All the information will be on there for you. So that's it. I'm going to start now with card number 1. So for card number 1, I have all the pieces I'm going to need right here. I have used a little die in my stash, this one. It's some squares and I couldn't even tell you where I got it. I think it came in a magazine. But if you have some square dies in your stash, then they'll do perfectly. So I'm going to start with the card base and the size. The card base I'm using is one that came in the kit. We got 3 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 card bases and 3 5 by 7 card bases, and they came with matching envelopes. So this piece measures 10.5 by 5 1/4, and then it's scored at 5 1/4 if you want to make a similar size card. Next, I have a piece of pattern paper from the kit, and this was one with the numbers and cut aparts, etc. But I liked the pattern paper that was on the back of this one. It measures 5 by 5, and then I have a white panel. This white panel measures 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. Now, onto that I have 2 dies. My largest die from cutting edge to cutting edge is just shy of 2 inches, and then I've used a smaller die in the inside. I have popped that onto some white cardstock and I've die cut out 3 frames. I'm going to pop one there like that, one there like that, and one here like that. Now I am drawn to put it over here, but I'm going to use some of my rabbits, and I want to leave a space to stamp a sentiment. So I'll either do it on this side or here, but one of the spaces, it doesn't matter which one, you can do it with any one you want. You'll need to leave a space for your sentiment. I coloured in some rabbits. I'll leave a link down in the description to a YouTube live I did where I stamped out a number of rabbits and then coloured them in using my Spectrum Noir tri-blend markers, and I did all different coloured rabbits. You can see them there. We had great fun. I was on the live for a good hour, a bit longer than that. So I've taken these 3, and what I want to do is pop them in the boxes. So I'll probably do so. Now you see, this is where I'm debating where I'm going to put my sentiment. So I do like the idea of my little rabbit like this, and I'm going to cut off the excess across here. I've put a little accent glaze in the eyes and a little drop on the nose. I hope you can see that on the screen. And I've them already done. So I'm going to kind of nestle my little bunnies. I'll have one like that. This one then will probably again sit with the something like this. I think I might do that one there, and then I'll have this little bunny up here. So I'll have the 3 bunnies like that, and because of the way this one is looking, this is why I'm going to stamp my sentiment in here. I've taken some of the little gems that we've got in the kit, and I'll probably just embellish that like so. And then the stamps that we got in the kit are these ones. And it has Somebody Loves You, Hopping By to Say Hi, and Spring Wishes. So I think what I'll do is stamp the Hopping By to Say Hi. Now what I'll do is I'll stamp the hopping by and then the to say hi, so I can have it as 2 lines, and I'll do that using a stamping platform. So that is card 1. I'm going to go ahead now, put on a little music and speed up while I make my card. And there we go, there is card number 1. And I hope you can see all the shine that I have on the little bunnies. On this one, it's on his tail, on his ears, a little bit on his closed eye and nose, and then again on the eyes and nose for these 2. Hopping by to say hi. I haven't any sentiment on the inside. I'm going to leave that blank so that I can write a message to the recipient in there, but I just think this is the cutest little card. So let's move on now to card number 2. So with this card, I'm going to use one of the card bases that came in the kit with matching envelopes. This is a 5x7 card base, and if you want to make one, you'll need a piece of 10x7 scored at 5. I'm going to have it so that it's going to sit in this orientation, so the fold is to the top. On top of that, I have some purple cardstock. This is a lovely kind of a lilac colour from my stash. This is little Crolando cardstock. It's about 280 GSM. Then, so this piece measures, 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. I have a piece of the pattern paper. This piece measures 4.5 by 6.5, and then I have a couple of layers that I'm going to put on that. So first I have this piece, it's 4 3/4 by 3 3/4, and this white piece is 4.5 by 3.5, and that will sit on there like so. And you can see here I've used some of the peel-offs that came in the kit this month, this beautiful violet color. And you can see I have a very 1/8 border, very skinny border going the whole way around that. So that's going to sit on here. And then I have these 2 pieces. This piece measures 6 by 2 1/4, and this piece measures 5 3/4 by 2 inches. And that will sit on there like so, and that will go on top there. Now onto this, I'm going to add some little adornments, and these bunnies were in the pattern paper on one of the sheets. And what I did was I fussy cut them out, and I wasn't too precious about how I fussy cut them out, but I did take the time to do it as nicely as I could. So you'll see the bunnies that are facing this way, they don't have any bunny tails on, but the ones that are facing this way, they have like little eggs, like what's on the pattern paper here. And I'm going to cover them up using the little balls that came in the kit. So what I plan to do is I'm going to keep one for the inside, that little one. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and maybe 1, 2. Yeah, I think that's the way I was going to do it. And then I have some little bunny tails to go on these ones like so. But I think these ones will be missing a little bunny tail, so I'm going to add them on there like that. And then this one will go inside, but I won't add a little bunny tail. I've got 3 little beautiful, they're like a cream colored little flower. They have a gem in the middle and they have iridescent sparkle on the outside. I'm going to put 3 of them along here. And then I'm going to take the stamp from the stamp set, the hello, and I'm going to stamp that just up here. I'm going to put the hello there. So this will be just a little greeting card of hello. And then inside, I'll be able to write my message. So that's how the card is going to look. Let's go ahead now and assemble our card and do a little bit of stamping. So there we go. There is card number 2, and I think this is very cute. If you didn't want the dimension, you don't have to add the foam pads or the little bunny tails like I have done. But I think this will fit into a 5x7 envelope. If not, I can make one and make it a little bit bigger. So that is card 2. Let's have a look now at card number 3. So for this card, we're going to make what's called a seagull card, and this is inspired by Mixed Up Crafts. There are loads of other makers who've made this seagull style card, but that's where I've seen it and I'm inspired by. So I'm using one of the 5x7 card bases that came in the kit. Now I've added 2 more score lines, one at 2.5 and one at 7.5. So if you don't have a card base, you'll need a piece of cardstock measuring 10x7, scored at 2.5, 5 and 7.5. And then I've got a mountain, a valley and a mountain fold to give us this shape. You'll also need another piece of cardstock, and this piece measures 5.5x7. I've scored it at 1/2 and at 3, and I have a mountain and a valley fold. So what we're going to do is it needs to be a valley and a mountain fold. And I'm going to stick these 2 together like so with our little tab. So our card will fold in like a gatefold 5x7. That's what a gatefold is. But we've got this extra little fold there in the middle. So our card is going to sit like so. Okay, so next I have these 3 pieces here. This is a topper. It measures 4x4. Then I have a piece of yellow card, and this piece measures 4¼ by 4¼ and then I have another white piece, and this one measures 4.5 by 4.5. This is going to sit here, and it's going to sit astride this score line here. And to do that, I'm going to add a mechanism, and this mechanism, it measures, let me just see, it's 6 by 1¼ and I have scored it at 1, 2, 4 and 5. So we're going to have a mountain, a valley, a mountain and a valley and it's going to sit like so. So these two little wings are going to sit astride this score line. So when the card is flat, this will be flat. And then when our card pops up, this will be able to pop up as well. So I hope I'm showing you that well enough. So that's how that is going to sit. And then our little pop-up panel will sit there. And then our whole card will close down, and this will get closed in behind it like so. So onto these panels here, we need to add some pattern paper. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I have 6 panels here. These all measure 2 1/4 by 6 3/4. And I have mine lettered on the back, so I know that one will go there, that one will go there. And it's because when they're turned up this way, this is how they were cut. So I want them to sit in the right orientation. I don't want them to get mixed up. So that one will go there, this one here, and then these two here and here. Now I'm going to stick my mechanism down. This piece here is going to get glued on first, and then I can pop my pattern paper over the top and you won't see the little legs where it's stuck on. Then finally I have die cut out the word happy, and it's from this set. This is an old set that I have in my stash. I got this in January 2022. It has been available on the website, but I'm not sure if it's there anymore. But if you have a die that die cuts out the word happy, I'm using the happy from this one here, happy from the happy birthday. I'm going to pop that on to my piece here, and I'm going to stamp the word birthday just here across the bunny. And I've got a birthday stamp in my stash that I'm going to use. So that's everything now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my birthday onto this so it can dry, and then I'm going to assemble, glue down the rest of our pieces and pattern paper onto our card base. So let's go ahead and do that next together. So there we go. There is card number 3 finished. We've added our panels. I've added some sparkle as well as some accent glaze. You can see it there to the bunny's eye and nose and to the flowers. And this card closes beautifully. If you bring all your panels together, your card will close in and fold beautifully, just like that. It's so easy. Now you can have it so that your panel sits inside and I'm just going to be careful because of my accent glaze, so it can sit in like that. But I love the idea of the panel being out at the front of the card, and that's what the recipient sees. On the back then I have a sentiment here. I've cut another panel, and it's just a tiny bit shorter and a tiny bit thinner than the actual panel size itself. I've stamped "A Big Birthday Deserves a Big Card." That's from my stash, but the reason I put this panel on the back is to hide the join of our two pieces there. So this is a lovely card. I think it sits really nicely. It's got a great look. There's lots of room then on the back as well. You know, if you want to put a lot of signatures on the back, you've got lots of room there to do that. So that's it. That's card 3. I hope you enjoyed this seagull style card. Let's move on now to card number 4. So for this card, we're going to make a kind of a Z-fold card. I'm going to again use a 5x7 card base. These came in the kit, but you can make one yourself using a piece of 10x7 and score it at 5. I've got a piece of pattern paper. This measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. I'm going to do some die cutting on this. I have some dies. They're Love from Lizi nesting dies that are available on the website. I've taken 2 dies, and I'm going to die cut out the pattern paper using my bigger die, and then this nesting one, which is smaller, I'm going to pop this on over my card base. Once I have my pattern paper die cut out, I'm going to sit my die down, and I'll be able then to die cut out my opening, because this card is going to have an opening here. And what we're going to have is on the inside, we're going to have these pieces. So now we're going to look at these. This white piece of cardstock, it measures 9.5 by 6 3/4. And I have scored this at, let me just see, 4 3/4 and 7 1/8. And that is going to give us, this is going to be our Z-fold part of our card, but this is going to sit inside our card base. So when you get your card, you'll have your 5x7 card like this. You'll have an opening here, and this is what you'll see behind the opening. And when you open the card up, this piece will pop out, and you'll have this part set on here. And we'll have our sentiment in here, and it'll be really cool looking. I don't know if this card has a name or this style has a name, but I'm calling it, it's a Z-fold card style. So what we need then is some mats and layers for this piece. So because I've taken one of the cut aparts, you can see it there, and I've used the same 2 dies. The smaller one I've used to die cut out my lovely floral piece, and then the larger die I've used to die cut out this piece. It's because this is paper, it's not very strong, and it needed something to sit onto. So what I've done is, rather than use that purple cardstock on the front and do mats and layers there, I'm going to do my mats and layers in here. So this piece will sit on here like this, and then we have a white piece that'll sit on here like so. Now all the mats and layers and sizes, everything you need for each of the cards, they're in the description down below. So if you're looking for measurements for each card, have a look in the description below. So my piece of purple cardstock for this, it measures 4.5 by 6.5, and then this piece measures 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So like I said, they'll go on there. So my sentiment will go on this piece. And wherever I put my sentiment here, I'll make sure that this covers it. So when my card is closed, you won't see any sentiment behind it. And then I have this piece of pattern paper. It measures 2 1/8 by 6.5. and that is going to sit on here like so, and then this piece will sit over the top like that. And we're going to put a sentiment on this. I'll probably put congratulations or something. I haven't got that far, would you believe that? Yeah, so that's everything. Let's do some die cutting now. So we're going to take our piece of pattern paper, and this is the piece that goes on the front here. I'm going to take the biggest of my 2 dies that I'm using, and I'm going to kind of centralize this, you know, in the middle here of my pattern paper. And I'm going to bring it down a little bit there to just under the egg, I think. So about there looks like a nice amount to cut that out. So I'll take a bit of my low tack tape, and this is great low tack tape, but I'm going to just put it on my jeans a little bit, and I'm going to make sure I kind of stick it on so it's going on the inside part. I won't mind if it tears on this paper because I'm not using it. So I'm going to bring this over to my die cut machine, and I'm going to die cut that out. Now I have that die cut out, and I won't throw this piece away. I'm going to pop that into my scraps, and I'll be able to use that again. I'm just going to be very careful about peeling off the low tack tape, but this tape is pretty good, and I'm going to fold it back flat on itself and pull it back gently. So as long as the back of the tape is on the piece of pattern paper, there's less chance of it pulling the paper off. So I'll keep that for another time. So I'm going to keep that. So now this piece is going to go down here. And I'm going to take my smaller piece, my smaller die, and I'm going to nest that in there so it's kind of centered. And then I'm going to take that little piece of low tack tape and pop that on there. And then I'm going to put this into my die cut machine. Now if you have a die cut machine and it doesn't fit on it, you can always bring this part over and put it through. The die won't cut through the top piece, it'll only cut through the bottom piece. So if you don't have a die machine big enough. So I'm going to go and cut out that now. So I wanted to show you that I have a Big Shot Plus that this would fit in, but if you don't have a die cutting machine big enough for your card to go into, if you fold the card, the back of the card over on it, pop on your plate, and then bring this through. Now it will leave a little mark on the back of your panel. If we move that out of the way, and I'll clean that off later. So we do have a mark on the back there, but it's the back of the card and you won't see it from the inside because we have panels going on here. So that is my opening there. This piece then will sit over the top, and I'll glue that down into place. And then we have these pieces going in here, so you won't see the mark left by the die because it'll be covered up. So the only place you'll see the mark is on the back there. And what I will do is I'll stamp my handmade by Blanc Cards and Crafts. I'll stamp it in there so it's kind of a feature, but it's just a handy thing if you need to put a larger piece of cardstock or whatever in to your die machine like that, and it's a card front. You can always use that little trick of folding the back over on top. So again, I'm going to keep that piece. I've got my dies there. I'm going to move those out of the way. So now I'm going to glue this piece down. And I'm going to glue my other pieces into place as well. But I've got to stamp on this panel and then add this piece on, and we'll do that together. But the rest of the panels, I can glue this piece down on here and that on there and that on there. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that now. I'll speed it up, play a bit of music, and then I'll come back to you when I'm doing the final assembly. So there we go. There is our really cool Aperture Z-fold card with our birthday wishes, and the birthday wishes dies are from my stash. You can use whatever dies you have in there, and you can see our lovely little topper in there, and then our big birthday wishes inside. And again, I've used a stamp from my stash there. I think this card, when it's displayed, would be displayed like this rather than displayed, you know, if it was displayed, it would be kind of hard to display it you know, with the card closed, because of it needs to be closed fully for the topper to be in its correct place. But yeah, I think this is a lovely card, a really cool design, and I hope you like it. So that's it. Let's move on now to card number 5. So for card 5, I'm going to use the card blanks that came in the kit. This is one of the 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 card blanks. So if you want to make this size, you'll need a piece measuring 10 1/2 by 5 1/4, score at 5 1/4. I've then got this panel. It's in white and it measures 5 by 5. I've also got this piece. It's an embossed piece. Now it measures 5 1/2 by 2 1/2. That's going to sit on here, but I want it at an angle. So hence the reason why it's this kind of funny size. It needs to fit on my panel here. So I want to, it needs to be on this corner and this corner. So it'll sit on like that. And I'll cut the excess off once it's glued into place. I've then got this piece of white card. It measures 6 1/4 by 1 1/2. That's going to sit over the top there like that. And again, once I glue that down, I will cut off the excess. I have a piece of gold card. This is from my stash. It's a kind of a linen textured card. And I've added one of the widest peel-offs to this. This is going to sit over the top there as well. And again, I'll cut the excess off that once I have it on. I've got 2 flowers. These I fussy cut out of one of the pattern paper sheets. It was the ones with the cut aparts, and you can see there's some gloss on them. I added a little bit of glossy accents, or my accent glaze, to parts of the flowers, just to give it a bit of, you know, a bit of sparkle when it hits the light. On the card, and these are going to sit over this part. Well, something like, oh, I don't know, something like this, something like that. And I have the 2 done. I may just go with 1, but I have the 2 done. I'm going to stamp a sentiment here on this part of my white cardstock. And yeah, I'm going to stamp a sentiment here, and then this piece, This piece measures 5 by 3/4 of an inch, and that's my purple cardstock that I used here. I've then put a piece of the gold cardstock from my stash. It's a 1/2 inch, and then I put a very fine, one of the smallest of the peel-offs across that, and that's going to go on the inside of my card to embellish. The embossing folder that I used on this is a previous Love from Lizi embossing folder that we got in a kit, and that one was the perfect size to emboss this panel. So I'm going to go ahead now. Oh, I forgot to mention these. I'm going to use this as well. I'm going to put that on this piece like that, and it'll just add to that there. So I'm going to use one of those peel-offs, and we got these in the kit as well. So that's everything now. What I'm going to do is start assembling. I'll add, I'm going to speed it up and add some music. And before I do anything, I'm going to stamp a sentiment onto this piece here. So I'll stamp it along there. And this is going to be a birthday card. I'm going to use one of the happy birthdays. This is from the January 2021 kit, so I'm going to use that happy birthday, but you can use whatever you have in your stash. So let's go ahead and do some stamping and assembly. So there we go, there is card 5, and you can see there I used some little gems that I had in my stash from a previous Love from Lizi kit. I figured the gold gems went better with the gold cardstock that we have there. You can see the edges of my flowers. I didn't actually glue them down, I have them left so they're lifted up for a little added dimension. And then inside I have a stamp from my stash, birthday wishes just for you, I hope your day is beautiful too. And the little leaf, these here was from one of the, I think it was this floral spray, so I just popped that on the inside. I thought it was nice to bring a little bit of what was going on the outside in to the inside of the card, and I think this is a lovely little birthday card and I love it. I hope you do too. So now let's move on to card number 6. So here we are, and I have my cardstock ready. This is going to be a 6 by 6 card size. So this piece measures 12 by 6. I've scored it twice to make our Z-fold floating panel card. I've scored it at 3 and again at 6. So if you fold it in half and burnish that score line, and then you're folding back on this one. And that will give us our Z-fold card. Now onto this I have some pattern paper. This piece measures 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and I've also got 2 white panels. These panels measure 2 3/4 by 5 3/4, and I've used an embossing folder from my stash. This is one given to me by my crafty friend Denise, and I'm going to pop one there and one here. I've also got one of the toppers. I've cut that out. This piece measures 4 by 4. And then I have another piece measuring 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. And I'm going to sit that on here. And I'm going to make sure that it's kind of, you know, I want the same amount at the top and bottom as what and the same amount on each side. So it'll go on something like that. Then I have this panel. Now this panel measures, so I'll bring in my ruler. This piece measures 4 3/4 by 5 1/4, and I've scored it at 1/2 inch. So this little flap here is going to attach on, and I'll move this panel out of the way. So we'll have this piece here, and this panel is going to get stuck on here like so, and it'll sit in the middle like that. So when the Z-fold card is open, we'll have this piece popping up and we'll have our topper popping up. Now on this piece, I'm going to stamp a birthday message. I've also fussy cut out this little flower because it picks up the flower that's in the pattern paper. And I'm going to pop that on the bottom there, so it ties the two together. And you can see this pattern paper is the paper around that area in the topper. So we have a bunny on here. But I think that can be a birthday card, it can be a thank you card, it can be a whatever kind of card you like. It doesn't I don't think bunnies are just for Easter. What do you think? So yeah, I'm going to make this into a birthday card. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment on here, and I'm going to, then I'll do the assembly and I'll come back to you. So now we have that nicely centered on our card, the same as with our lower panel. And when we open it, it opens up nicely. We have our panel there, but I don't like how it flops. I'm not happy with that. So I want to change it up. I want to put a little mechanism in behind here that will keep that in place. So in order to do that, we're going to need we're going to need a piece of cardstock that is going to go in here. So I'm going to give you the measurements for that now. So I have a mechanism piece that's going to sit in behind here. So when the card is opened, that piece is going to stay the same width the whole way across, and it'll just look so much better. So for that, what I have done is I have measured from the score line here where our panel opens, from there to the score line here in the middle is 1 1/8 for me. So measure what that is for you. I have a piece of cardstock here. It measures 5 inches by 2 1/4. So I've scored it at 1 1/8, at 2 1/4, at 3 3/8, and 4 1/2, and that'll give us a little tab here so we can do them all as mountain folds, and this little tab is going to attach in there. So I'm going to use some of my quick grab glue for that onto this tab, and then I'm going to fold this piece over on the second score line just there. And that way then I can fold this piece over, and that'll fold lovely. So I'm just making sure it's happy to fold, which it is. Now this piece, this box is going to sit in here like so, and it's going to glue on here, here and here. So there'll be 3 sides it'll glue into like that, and then when the card is folded flat, this will go flat as well, and when the card is opened, this panel will pop up. So I'm going to sit this in the middle kind of there, and I'm going to add glue to 3 of my sides, and I'm going to again use my quick grab glue. There's 1, 2. You could use tape on this if you want, so whatever suits you. And this is kind of how, you know, this is how I would do things. Like, I didn't make this card, you know, I didn't make it first and see how it worked out. I just like the idea of it. Yeah, so we've glue on 3 sides. So the middle one is going to sit down here, and then the other 2 sides will sit there and there. So the best thing to do is actually fold it flat. Now give that a minute for the glue to set, especially if you're using a white glue, a quick grab glue, because when you open things too quickly on a mechanism, that can actually, you know, it will tear the paper, is what I find. So give it a minute, and once you're happy with that, then you can open the card. So now when we open our card, our mechanism, and I'm just going to give that a little help at opening and closing, just like that, so it knows, it's giving the cardstock memory. Now look, isn't that so much better the way it sits? This one isn't flapping around, and we have our mechanism in there. You can see it down through there. So yeah, I think that's glued on well enough. Yeah, I love that now. I'm well happy with that. I didn't like this panel was kind of flapping around, because I feel when it goes into an envelope and it comes out, do you know, a lot of people who get our handmade cards, they're not card makers, so they don't know what to do with things. So I think that's a better idea. I love the idea of that. It sits nicely there. It sits nicely, you know, you can see it there, and you can open it up enough when it's on the side table or on the mantelpiece. It'll sit open enough that you can see the verse and see the image. And then to write a message, I would write my message on the back. You can add mats and layers on the back if you like. It's up to yourself. I'll probably take a little piece of the pattern paper that's left over and put it across the back there, and that'll give me room for a message. So I'm going to finish up now. I'm going to add some accent glaze to my rabbit and the flowers and some gems and stuff like that. And I'm going to high speed you through me doing that. And there we go. There is our floating panel Z-fold card. And I hope you like it as much as I do, with all the glossy accents on our topper or accent glaze, whichever you have. I've added some to my flower in here as well. I just think it's lovely. And I've got room on the back for my message, and I put my strip of pattern paper there on the back in the same orientation that this is all running, rather than across the bottom. So that is it. That is card number 6. We're moving on now to card number 7. This card is going to be a 5x7 card. So I have made my card base myself. It's a piece of 10x7. I've scored it at 5. That'll give me this card base. I was going for something similar in the color to this topper that I've cut out there, and I think it's pretty close. So this piece measures 4 by 4, and I have a piece of white cardstock that's going to go behind that, and it measures 4.5 by 4.5. This is a textured kind of linen. It's an off-white color that I've gone for here out of my stash. So that'll sit on there. And then I have these 3 pieces. So this piece measures 4.5 by 1 3/4. This lemon colored one measures 4 1/4 by 1 1/2. And then this white panel measures 4 by 1 1/4. And I'm going to pop a sentiment on there, and I'm going to use a sentiment from the stamp set. I'm going to use the hopping by to say hi. And because I'm using that sentiment, I'm going to use one of my little bunnies that I stamped and colored previously in a live. Links to that live are down below. I'm going to pop that on over the floral sprig there. I think it looks nice. I'm going to lift it up on some foam, and I'll probably lift up this sentiment one on foam as well. Now I have some ribbon here. I'm inclined to use that. I'm not sure how at the moment, but I might bring it in. It is a different color, so I'm debating it. So it may go on, it may not. If I don't use that, I will definitely use some of the lovely gems that we got in the kit. And then finally, because I'm using a colored card base, although I could write on it and you would see, I'm going to use another piece of this linen textured cardstock. The back is it's not as textured, but I don't mind. I think this will be nice inside. So it measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then I have this little strip here. It measures 4.5, and it's only a 1/2 inch wide. It's just to kind of pull in the colors from the outside in, and this layered kind of look as well. So now that's all the pieces we need. I'm going to do a little stamping, and then we'll do some assembly. So I think this is missing something, and I'm going to take some of this pattern paper and just put a strip across here to see how it looks. So I've cut a piece of pattern paper. It's the same as this. It measures 3 3/4 by 1/2 inch, and I think that it just ties it in. I don't know, some of you might be saying, no, Simone, don't put it in, but I'm going to add it in. I think it ties the 2 panels together. So if you want to leave it out, you can. It's up to yourself if you are going to create this card, whether with the kit or with pattern papers, etc. that you have. I'm going to make sure the flowers are the same way up as they are in that panel, and then I shall pop that on there. I like that now. I think it ties the whole thing together. So I'm delighted with that. We have our bunny that we've coloured in using our Tricolor Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. The stamp from Lizi's stamp set, and then one from my own stash. It said, I just wanted to send you a beautiful card. And I thought it'd be nice to put it there with another one of the bunnies I've coloured in, because that gives me all this area then to write to the recipient. So I hope you've enjoyed this card. Let's move on now to card number 8. For card 8, I'm going to make a DL size card, and for me a DL size card depends on my envelopes. So my envelopes measure 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and for that reason my DL card is going to be 4 by 8 1/4. So you can adjust the size of your card dependent on what size your envelopes are. So now, this piece measures 8 by 8 1/4, and I've scored it at 4. Next, I have a piece of pattern paper here. This piece measures 4 by 8 1/4, and what I want to do is put it on here, but you can see it's the full size of my card width, and the reason for that is I liked this pattern paper. There are these floral strips going through the whole thing. So what I've done was, this was the edge of the pattern paper, and I don't know if you can see here, I hope you can, I have done a pencil line all around the flowers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut on that line. I'm going to fussy cut around it. I'm going to stick that down then on this panel, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut around this, mimicking what I've done on my pattern piece, and that way then we'll have this lovely floral edge running along here, and you'll be able to see on the inside. So that's my plan for that. Then to embellish the inside of the card, I've taken another piece of it, and I have fussy cut, and this one goes down across here. Now I'm only going to bring it as far, I might bring it the whole way across. I'm in two minds. I'll wait until I see how the edge looks here when I've done the front, and then I can cut this down to 3 3/4. You know, if I want to have a nice little border around it, I'm going to see. But this piece, it's 4 inches long and it's 2 inches high, and that's just because of the flowers I was fussy cutting around. And there's plenty of height in this card to allow for such a deep piece. Onto this then, I'm going to use one of the small tags that we got in the kit. I'm going to pop that on at a jaunty angle, something like that. I'm going to stamp a sentiment in there, and I'm going to pop my little stuck to my hand. I'm going to pop my little rabbit then on top here. So I may use him. I do have a few here to, you know, to look at. I may put the little one. I kind of thought the colors in that were good. Mind you, I do like the colors in this. These are what I have left. We've also got our wooden pieces as well. If you wanted to use one of the wooden pieces on it, you could. But I really want the rabbit to be facing that way because our fussy cut edge is that way. So it's facing away from it there. So I'll see. I like the idea of my little bunny here because, you know, I feel he's facing the right way. So which color to use? I do like the little grey toned one. So I'm going to go with that one. And what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the kit that we got, and I'm going to put hopping by to say hi. I'm going to use that little sentiment there, and I'm going to pop that on the front here. Now I have my sentiment cut in half. I used it in a previous card. What you can do is just put a bit of post-it tape over it, ink up this piece, take off your tape and stamp down, and then wipe this clean, put a bit of post-it tape over that, use your ink on this and do it. I'm quite happy to cut into my stamps because they still join up and they line up perfectly when you want to use them all, you know, as one long piece. So you do you, and I'll do me. So that's the plan and the layout for the card. I may add a little bit of dimension behind the the tag here. I'm going to see how I feel as I put it together. Lastly, then I've used some of the green ribbon that came in the kit. I have put a piece through it and then tied a bow on over it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fussy cut around this panel. I'm going to assemble this card. I'll speed up the assembly and I'll play a little bit of music in the background. So now I have fussy cut our card and I love this. I love this organic edge that we have going on here. And I've had a look at putting this piece in here like so, but I don't think it looks right here. So I've had a change of heart. I'm going to keep that. I think I might put that on the back like that to embellish it. I think that would be lovely, and I'll stamp my little logo on there. I think it'll be very cute, so I'm not going to waste that. But I think what I'm going to do is, we got some of this glitter cardstock and I have cut this to it's 1.25 inches by 8 inches, and I think this is going to look nice there like that. It'll bring a bit of sparkle in, so I'm going to go ahead with that. I think this is really cool. What do you think? I love the way the fussy edge there around this edge, I think is really nice. And the bit of sparkle there on the side of the card has been brought in on the little tag itself. And then when you open it up, you've loads of room to write a message. You can either put it inside or on the back, depending. Yeah, so I love that. I think it's a really cool card and I hope you've enjoyed this card. Next, we're going to move on to card number 9. So this card is going to be an American A2 size card, and we haven't done one of these sizes in this 10 cards mix yet. So I thought we'd go with an American size for this card. Now, this card base, it is 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4.25. We're not going to really focus on the outside of this card. We're going to focus on the inside. But for the outside, I have a piece of purple or lilac cardstock, and this measures 4 by 5.25. Onto that, I've got one of Lizi's doilies that came in the kit, and I'm going to pop that on the front. You'll see here I've got a lovely little heart die cut out. Now that heart came from a previous kit. It's from the December 2023 kit, Making Memories, and I just thought that heart was the perfect size to fit over the little heart that was back here. So I've popped that on. I've stamped birthday, as you can see there, and it's again from the January 2021 stamps. From that kit, it came with stamps and dies, but I've used that birthday. It fit nicely in this piece. So my birthday, my little doily heart is going to be at an angle, but as long as my birthday sentiment here is straight, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut this part off once I glue this down. Now I want to put a sentiment above that. So I had I have some dies in my stash. It's a shadow die and a word die, and the shadow I have die cut out using the same pattern paper, and then my word is from the die set, and I'll leave links to what I can down below in the description for both card sizes and products I used. So I thought I would pop that there, and it ties in, you know, the pattern paper that we have going to be going on the inside. So for the inside of my card, I have this piece of pattern paper. Now it measures 8 by 5¼ I've scored it at 2, at 3, at 4, 5 and 6, and we're going to do some folds on that. We're going to accordion fold it. So we have a valley, a mountain, a valley, a mountain and a valley, and this now is going to sit inside our card base. So like I said, that will sit in here like so, and our card then will close like that. Now on these two panels, the 2-inch panels, I've got 2 pieces of white card. They measure 1 7/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm going to pop them in there like so. Now I have stamped on these already. I have happy birthday done on one, and this is from these stamps are from my stash, so it's going to give me a very small border there because I wanted to have enough room to put a little message on there, and so that one will go on there like that. So the stamps inside are from my stash, so that's how it's going to be. So it'll have a little space, but I think this is a cute little birthday card to send to someone. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start assembling our card. I'll play a little bit of music, and then once I have it done, I'll come back to you. So there we are, there is card number 9, and I love this card. I think it's very cute, and I think this would be a great layout for a 5x7 or a 6x6, or even a DL card. I think would look super cool done like this. I've got lots of sparkle on my happy word with some Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and I'm hoping if I shine my phone on it there, you'll see all the sparkle that's on that. And we have our lovely birthday word, and then inside we have our cool little card. I love how that sits. We've got our sentiment there. The card I think would be displayed open rather than the front. It really depends on the person, but we have enough room here to write our sentiment, you know, to the birthday person, lots of love, and you know, the who's sending it, and then it folds nicely down just like so. So I hope you've enjoyed this card. Let's move on now to card 10. That'll be our last card using this kit. And so finally we're on to card number 10, and I'm going to make a 6x6 card. So for that you'll need a piece of 12x6 and scored at 6, and then on top of that I have a piece of pattern paper. Now I hope you can see there's lots of dimension in this pattern paper. You'd see it better here. I've used an embossing folder. This was from a previous kit from Love from Lizi, and I thought it would be really cool to emboss our pattern paper. It gives it some great texture. It's really, really lovely. I've got a strip as well. This is 1 inch by 5 3/4. I'm going to pop that on the inside and I'm going to put that in there like so. And it'll just tie what's going on in the front to the inside. I've taken one of the cutter parts. Now this piece is a little less than the size we've been doing. This one is 3 inches by 3 inches. I cut this down rather than using the full size. And then this purple piece, it measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and it's going to sit on there like that. You can just glue this down. I'm going to put some foam tape and layer it up. I've taken a happy die that I have in my stash. I've die cut this out. I've got some foam behind the cardstock, so when I've die cut it, it's gone through the two. Now it hasn't completely come through the backing, but my letters and my word will pop out, and you'll have seen that in the previous card. I used the same one. And then I stamped this birthday sentiment from my stash and I cut it out. I'm going to stick the happy on there and the birthday probably there like that, or I might pop it down there. I'll see what layout I want to do once I get to it. So this is quite a simple card for our last card, but it's really, really lovely. I really like this idea. So right, let's go ahead now and assemble this card. So that's it, folks. There is card 10. I think you'll agree that using an embossing folder with your pattern paper gives a really cool look to your card. I've lots of sparkle on the happy. We have our lovely birthday here as well. And then inside I've used a sentiment from my stash, sending a huge happy birthday to you. So that's it. There are our 10 cards using the Love from Lizi April 2024 card kit called Spring Wishes. Don't forget that down in the description below there are the measurements for all 10 cards. There's links to the Love from Lizi website, to the subscriptions and to products that I've used that I can link. I'll link to other products as well down below, and to the design team members. We've got 4 new design team members, and we have Jane from Reflections by Jane guest designing again with this kit. So I'll have as many links to those down below as I can, and once I find out who they are, I'll add them in at a later date if they're not down there. So that's it. It's Easter weekend here, and yeah, so I hope you're having a lovely Easter, and until next time, folks, take care, stay safe, and bye for now. Bye bye.